Welcome to Sports Talk with RKJ. I'm your host, Steve Risser, with my co-hosts Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galuli. And NBA free agency is upon us, and on Sunday the moves were really, really crazy. We saw Kevin Durant get signed. We saw Kyrie Irving get signed by the same team. We saw Kemba Walker. He's coming home. Not coming home, but coming close to home, going to Boston. We saw D'Angelo Russell with an interesting fit going to the Warriors. I mean, we saw Jimmy Butler going to the Heat. But there was one free agent that was not signed, and that free agent is on the team that won the championship last year and the NBA Finals MVP, and that's Kawhi Leonard. And right now it's down to three teams. It is down. There's no way you can't say there's more than three teams that are involved. It's the LA Clippers because he lives close to LA Lakers, and imagine if this happens, Kawhi, AD, and LeBron, and knowing all the big threes we've had. You had the big three with KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. You had the big three with Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. They had the big three with Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Kevin Love. But now, then you had Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry. Now, if you get this big three, this is the best one if Kawhi goes to the Lakers. And also, he could end up staying with the Raptors. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see where Kawhi Leonard goes. And that's pretty much the last domino to fall. Yes, DeMarcus Cousins is still a free agent, but with his injuries, I just don't think he's ever going to come back to being the dominant player he was, and Justin would know when he was playing for the Kings. So it's going to be interesting to see where Kawhi Leonard goes, and that's going to be huge. That's going to really dictate the Eastern Conference. Because say he stays with the Raptors, they're still a favorite. They're right there with the Bucks. But if he leaves, they're probably the sixth or seventh best team in the Eastern Conference. And then say Kawhi Leonard goes to the Lakers, they're the favorite to win the NBA Finals.
Yeah, the last one, it's crazy because everyone else already, signed at 6 o'clock on Sunday night. And the thing is about Kawhi is you don't hear, he doesn't talk. So you don't have any idea where he's leaning. Even the Lakers and Clippers aren't even talking too much about it because they don't want to get him mad. They don't even want to talk about because, he doesn't like all that noise and all that.
Yeah, I know. I saw that, and I'm like, that is literally Kawhi summed up.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I still think he is going back to Toronto. Because they won the finals, I don't think he's going to leave. I really do think he's going to stay in Toronto, and they're going to be a threat in the East for years, for years to come.
I think if he goes to the Lakers, yes, him, LeBron, AD, and Kuzma, that's a great four. You're probably going to have the worst five in the league. Unless DeMarcus wants to go there for dirt cheap. But other than that, you're literally going to have no bench. You literally will have the worst bench in the league. So you're one injury away from being from an elite squad to an above average team that could maybe make some noise come playoff time.
They would have no salary cap too, so they'd have to just sign everybody else to the better minimum.
Yeah, vet minimum, maybe that mid-level exception. I'm assuming you probably have that in some form, but you'd have LeBron, who's coming off his first major injury. You have an AD who's been susceptible to injury. Kawhi Leonard, who has, the injury thing that happened with the Spurs. Plus, he took off, maybe 20 games roughly because of load management. So you're not really going to be able to do that in LA because you have no bench if you sign there. And the only thing what could really do the Lakers dirty in that situation is that with him having to wait, he's going to take the max contract. Obviously, we all know that's going to take up the whole cap. So with them missing, if they miss out on him, they missed out on all these not tier 1 players, but those good tier 2 players that you can maybe get 2 or 3 for that $32 million. Now you're going to have to settle for okay players that are way below that. You couldn't make a run at Chris Middleton and all that stuff. But I'm still, if I'm him, I stay with Toronto because you're still going to be behind the Lakers, or you're still going to be behind LeBron on the Lakers. You're still not going to get all that shine, but maybe LeBron's pitch to him is, listen, after my contract's done, I'm probably going to be leaving. So then it's going to be you and AD's team, and at that point, he's going to be the alpha on the team. So maybe that's how it's going. But right now, like you said, everyone signed. Even though technically they weren't able to talk till 6. Yeah. Everyone talked before that, and every contract was signed before that. So it's interesting. Maybe he was just waiting to see how the pieces fell before he decided to sign somewhere.
So the funny thing is in this free agency period is the biggest winner in free agency is the Nets and the biggest loser is the Knicks. You saw the Nets getting Kyrie Irving, signing him to a 4-year deal, and then signing Kevin Durant to a 4-year deal. Even though Durant won't play this year, they'll be good this year, but in 2020, 2021, they'll be NBA Finals contenders. Might be if say the Lakers don't get Kawhi, they might be the favorite to win the championship that year. And now we go to the Knicks, who are an absolute disgrace. They're the worst organization in sports. How do you have Kevin Durant and not give him a max deal? That makes absolutely no sense at all. It just makes no sense. This is why the Knicks have only won one playoff series since 2000. Almost 20 years in the NBA, the Knicks have won one playoff series. I've been a Knicks fan since the 98-99 season when they made that crazy run with Latrell Sprewell, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson. I was at the Larry Johnson 4-point play game. Allen Houston. I remember Allen Houston hitting that shot against the Heat in the first round too that year. But I mean, ever since 2001, since they were bounced by the Raptors in 5 games in 2001, it has been a complete disgrace of an organization. This organization has never recovered from the day they fired Jeff Van Gundy.
My condolences to your Knicks.
Yes, and the thing is, and you know, you look at me. I got the Nets with Kevin Durant. They're on yes. They're right down. They're right down the road. I got the Celtics, who just got Kemba Walker 2 hours away too. Woo-hoo. But I'm stuck being a fan of this pathetic franchise that was this absolutely pathetic franchise.
Come over to Boston.
It's absolutely pathetic being a Knicks fan. And the problem is, as long as James Dolan's here, the same things are going to happen. Free agents are not going to sign with the New York Knicks because this organization is a complete joke. It's an absolute joke. They haven't got it for the last 2 decades. It's just a joke, and it's painful being a Knicks fan. I mean, and then to be there's nothing you could be positive with as a Knicks fan. I'm a Giants fan, and they're falling apart. It's a lot better being a Giants fan now than it is being a Knicks fan. It is. I mean, this
is the Giants. You have Barkley. You have something to look.
At least you got something to look forward to. The Knicks, you have absolutely nothing to look forward to. We talked about this offseason. Oh, we're going to get Zion. Yeah, the lottery is luck. I get that, but they were talking about the free agency class. We're going to get Kyrie to come here. We're going to get Durant to come here. They don't get either. And even worse, they go to the crosstown rivals, Brooklyn Nets. And now you got to watch the Nets play in big playoff games and then watch the Knicks miss the playoffs year in and year out. It is an absolute disgrace, and it's just painful being a fan of that franchise.
Yeah, it's gotta. And it's the punch to the gut that Durant and Kyrie go to Brooklyn. And the move too that just absolutely boggles my mind too. Why didn't they go and try to get Kemba Walker? Why didn't they even try talking to him? The guy's literally from the Bronx.
Because Justin, nobody wants to play in this organization. Nobody.
He loves it. I think he may have. You got.
But do you think that it was they didn't try to talking to him, or maybe they they put a thing like, "Hey, you want to sit down for a meeting?" And he's just like, "No."
I don't know. We never heard on source that they did or not because he loves playing at the Garden. He said it. It's probably the Knicks are probably his favorite team. I'm not
probably
sure
is,
about, but he lives right down the road pretty much. So I just don't understand why he even try to reach out to him and see his interest. Because I assume he was probably interested. Now he gets to come twice a year with the Celtics, and the Knicks. I guess the only bright thing I could say for you is maybe next year in the lottery.
Dude. There's no upside in being a Knicks fan. There's none.
Not.
There's absolutely none. Okay.
For like a couple years at Kings, I had no hope, but we're starting to get on the right trend. So I think we're starting to feel a little bit better.
The Kings are better. Kings are even a better organization than the Knicks.
Yeah, you guys took our place. We were down there for a while, I thought, but you guys took our spot.
Well, the problem with the Knicks and the whole issue with them not offering KD, I think, max contract, is the fact that you traded Kristaps Porzingis and used Porzingis to get rid of the terrible contract. Yeah,
you traded Porzingis so you would either get Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, or end up being bad enough to draft Zion Williamson, and you got none of them. None of them. The best you got was Julius Randle. You got none of them.
Yeah, Julius Randle. He's okay. He ain't great. Yeah. Like I don't understand why you would trade Porzingis to open up a max slot and then not use the max slot as a max slot. Like we'll give you 90% of this max slot. And Durant's just like, it's like insert the part of the interview from the playoffs where he says, "You know who I am, right?" I'm Kevin Durant. Like, what? Why are you not offering this dude max money? The only way you're going to get someone to go to the Knicks with James Dolan as your owner. I mean, it's not even the fact that you can overpay because there is a max amount of money you can give him. You're going to have to give him no matter what. The dude would not take less than that. And the fact that him and Kyrie are buddies and he's already going to the, we all knew he's already going to the Nets. And in fact, I also heard too a good reason that he didn't go as well is because when DeAndre Jordan went there, they kind of refused to play him and like wanted to play younger guys. And him and obviously DeAndre Jordan, like from what I heard, is that they're friends too. And so if you're thinking about trying to get this guy after the season, when this one guy is a good friend of him, why wouldn't you try to be nice to him and just do everything humanly possible?
I heard DeAndre Jordan did tell KD and Kyrie, do not play for the Knicks. Dude, he told them, do not go to the Knicks.
I don't blame him. And I feel like it's the same. Oh, maybe it's on the same because I'm not a Red Sox fan, so I don't know. But it feels like this is almost on the par of when the Yankees ended up getting A-Rod, and the fact that the Red Sox literally they were this close to getting that man, and then it goes to your heated rival. These two guys, well, Kyrie really wasn't going to go to the Knicks, but KD offered this guy a max contract. Very likely he's going to the Knicks, but now he's going to Nets roll over there to Brooklyn, and you're going to pay for this year after year after year. And if you're not able to get these guys, when there was a pool of insane talent, there was elite talent, and then there was that high tier 2 talent, and you got nothing. You got maybe top tier 3 talent with Randall, and then who else he signed? Taj Gibson. Ooh.
Oh yeah, it's
Bobby Portis. Ooh.
It's a total joke. It's a complete joke.
I really don't understand this.
Yeah.
Like same thing with Kemba. Like why don't they make a run at him? Because Kemba normally, I would say, is that like a top like tier 2 type player, and then for some reason when he plays in MSG, he becomes an elite.
I mean that was college though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just something when he just plays, and at that play, it's just something that he just plays insane out of his mind. It works. I can't explain it, but it works, and it's almost like And remember with Kemba, that's something that Michael Jordan didn't want to dip into the luxury tax and offer Kemba max money. Why? Why would Kemba want to stay in Charlotte for a lot less money than he could have got? I don't get that.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense. People need to realize. I understand MJ is God. I understand that. But when it becomes about money and your team is not good at all, especially in Charlotte where your marketing ability is nothing compared to like the major LA, New York areas, you're gonna have to overpay. I'm not saying if you give Kemba the max you're overpaying, but you're gonna have to give him top dollar, and you refuse to. I don't get it. I literally this has to be like the final nail in the next coffin at this point, because people are always saying come to New York. It's like New York, ooh, it's the shiny piece, marketing money. You'll make money off endorsements. You'll be popular in the biggest city in the U.S. Struck out.
Yeah. And now speaking of Kemba Walker, he's actually heading up north and joining the Boston Celtics. Here's my take on this. This is a downgrade to Kyrie Irving. It's a downgrade, but here's the thing. The Celtics cannot win a championship with Kemba Walker being their best player. What they're going to need Jason Tatum to step up and be that guy they drafted number 3 overall 2 years ago. Jason Tatum, he had a really good postseason in 2018, had a good year last year, but didn't have a great year. And that was a big reason why the Celtics went out in 5 games. They didn't really have that second option outside of Kyrie Irving. And now that Kemba's there, Kemba's a very, very good NBA player, but he's not at the level of Kyrie Irving, but the team might play better around him. And if he's not, and you can't win it with him being your best player, but you might be able to win it with Jason Tatum being your best player. This could end up working for the Celtics.
And this is because with Kyrie, yes, is he a better player? Yes, he is. I don't think it's like an insane level, better, but the fact that situation with Kyrie became almost toxic. I remember, so Torrey Krug, if you guys don't know, he's the defenseman for the Bruins. He put up a thing because remember before the season started, they had a little event over there, in TD Bank, where Kyrie says, "If you guys want me back, I'll be back. I'll sign." He's now in Brooklyn. Now I don't mind it because the way the season turned out was brutal, but even though Kemba might not be the exact exact level of talent that Kyrie is, even though I believe he is close, if you give me a choice between Kemba or Kyrie in Boston, give me Kemba 100 times out of 100.
But you need Tatum to step up because that team. If Tatum doesn't improve next year, that team's not going to be as good.
Even Hayward, you'll need him to step up.
Yeah,
Hayward had a bad year this year.
The two biggest problems last year with Boston was Kyrie and Hayward being put in too early. Hayward should have been brought in slowly because you stunted the growth of Jaylen Brown, you stunted the growth of Tatum, but. Give me Kemba over Kyrie right now in Boston because he's not going to have those off-the-court issues. Kemba is not one of those guys. Kemba seems like he's not much of a me player. He's more of a team player.
He's a we player. And I think Tatum could be the best guy he's ever played with.
Yeah, and it's just that's why I'm happy with this. It's like Kemba, I'm gladly come over. Kyrie, bye. It ain't working out. It's one of those classic things if it was he's a great player, but sometimes great players just aren't a good fit on one specific team, and that's just how it was.
Yeah, and I think this fit could turn out very well for the Celtics. They have some good young players. With Brown and Tatum. Hayward hopefully steps up. They just got Enes Kanter too, so he does
offense, no defense.
Kemba does love his screens, though. I think he had the second most picks this year, so that's different than Kyrie, so he, a little bit different game. And then also, too, Kemba's never been deep in the playoffs either. So, as we've seen back in the last time we've really seen him, when it matters, it's in March. 8 years ago, he's good when it matters. But we'll see now that he's actually on a contender. He's got some guys around him. So hopefully, I think, he can make a push for the Celtics. I think they can definitely get to an Eastern Conference final. I think they could.
Because if Tatum because I feel like with a lot of players that are that young, I'm talking about Tatum, they have a very good rookie year. Then they take the step back in the sophomore year because of people now have tape on them and people making adjustments to how they played. And then their junior year, your third year in the league, is how are your adjustments going to be to what their adjustments were. So I think right now they could make a run at a title. It all depends on how Tatum and Jaylen Brown develop and how Hayward. Is Hayward going to be what he was before he came to Boston and before that disgusting injury that he had? Who knows? Who's going to be coming off the bench? Are you going to have Hayward coming off the bench making that money? Are you going to have Tatum or Brown coming off the bench? How are you going to play it? And with the one that I am happy that they got Kanter because Kanter wasn't he the one that had was it a shoulder or something he kept playing throughout the playoffs? The fact that you're playing with a shoulder injury that from what it sounded like was pretty bad, at least it shows you're tough. And it shows, and cause I don't know if you know his whole situation from where he's from, that situation, he has no fear because the fact that you have a guy who people are saying is a dictator, essentially wanting your head from what it sounds like, you're a tough guy. The fact that you're not scared and in your room not wanting to leave, but right now I'm happy the way the free agency went. Although Horford going to the Sixers kind of hurt a little bit, but for that much money, I'll live with it.
Yeah, you got to live with it there. And to go back to Kemba, 8 years in the league, only 2 playoff appearances. He's a really, really good player, but you're not winning. You're not competing for a championship with him, as you saw in Charlotte. You're not competing for a championship with him as your best player. You need to have another guy like a Tatum step up. He could be your number 2, but I don't think he could be your number 1 on a championship team. So you need Tatum to step up to become a championship team.
And he could be with that guy in a clutch situation, like, oh, we need his bucket at the end, do it, because that's what he did.
Yeah, because he didn't have much around in Charlotte. The second best player in Charlotte, I think last year probably was either like a Jeremy Lamb, or that was probably the second best player, Jeremy Lamb, which he's a decent player, but he's not. He's not going
to be Jason Tatum.
Yeah, he's not going to be a Tatum or Hayward. So it's definitely
especially
an upgrade for Kemba.
And with his size, you need at least someone that's at least like above average on the team, because unfortunately, he was born the way he is. He's not 6'7", because if he's 6'7", it'd be insane.
He's 5'11".
Yeah, but the dude can handle the ball. He can pass, and we for sure know he can shoot. And we for sure know when it comes in the clutch time, everyone in the NBA, he's doing a step back. Just to let you guys know, look back when he destroyed that center in the Big East tournament.
Yeah, Gary McGee. Yeah,
yeah, it's like poor guy, broken ankles. And it's his move. Like, he's gonna do it. A court thing. I don't get it, but him clutch time, I'll take it.
Alrighty, so we'll talk about the Warriors now, and they obviously brought Klay Thompson back, 4 years, $190 million, and an interesting move. They signed D'Angelo Russell to a max deal, 4 years, $117 million, and this is kind of a weird fit because he's kind of a ball. And one of my friends texted me this and said he's kind of a ball-centric player, and Curry is the same way, a ball-centric player. But if he can maybe accept playing the 2 guard. And we'll see how he does as a 2 guard, because we haven't really seen him as a 2 guard in the NBA. This might be able to work, but this is a very, very interesting fit here with Klay, with the Warriors. You don't know how this is really going to work for them. Like, it is a little weird there. I mean, obviously they lose Kevin Durant. It might have been a desperation move to get another, pretty big free agent in with D'Angelo Russell, but this might turn out being a waste because of the way D'Angelo Russell plays.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird fit, because Russell's that ball heavy guy, he wants the ball. And you got Steph Curry, who's the best shooter, I think, in the game. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this works. And then, next year when Klay comes back, you add him to the mix. So it could definitely may work against the Warriors, and it may turn into a bad signing. You hope not, but Russell's really turned it around after that rough start in LA with the Lakers. So let's see how. But I wouldn't be shocked if this does not work out.
Really, because honestly, what I think they're doing, first they didn't want to lose, because technically it was a sign and trade. So technically they got D'Angelo. They didn't want to lose Durant for nothing. So they got D'Angelo. Really, what I think they're going to do is he's going to play this year, because I think Klay Thompson's going to come back probably towards the later, third of the season. And I think what they're going to do is try to build up D'Angelo Russell's trade value and then trade him for maybe a younger piece that's more of a fit for that team.
I would say the contract would, though. It would be tough trading with a contract.
But I don't think the contract isn't all that bad, though, compared to other contracts that are handed out. Because your second big contract, if it's like a max contract, like dwarfs what he got. Because how much did he get per season, was it? It was 4 years, $117 million. So that's a touch under 30. Compared to some of these contracts, like what Damian Lillard got $49 million a year. So that, especially a team like if they build him up and people promising, because the dude can handle, the dude can shoot. If it come trade time, people are going to be like, ooh, a very young guy, because I think he's only 23.
23, yeah.
Yeah, very young. People are going to be like, wow, he's young. He can shoot. He can handle. And you can trade him. They'll be able to. Because that's what I think, dude. Because other than that, because when Klay Thompson comes back, who you putting where? Because sure, someone getting paid that much, he ain't coming off the bench. We all know Klay ain't coming off the bench. So one of them is going to have to play the 3. I mean, Klay probably has the ability.
Clay's going to play the 3.
Yeah.
It's going to be Klay.
But honestly, I really think that D'Angelo Russell, by the trade deadline, he ain't going to be on the Warriors.
There's a very, very good chance that happening. Really, really good chance that he'd be really. The Warriors get a lot of assets for him if they get rid of him at the trade deadline.
Yeah, picks, bigs, something.
Yeah, exactly. So we look at Jimmy Butler, and this is one. Another. This just shows you who Jimmy Butler is. He signs a 4-year, $142 million contract with Miami. And here's the thing. good. Take your money and have fun getting bounced in the first round. Because why wouldn't you join the Houston Rockets? You have a much better chance to win a championship with the Rockets. You have James Harden. They're looking for that second piece because Chris Paul and Eric Gordon slipped off a little bit last year. He would be a really, really good number two to James Harden, but he decides to go to Miami, where they already traded Hassan Whiteside of the Trailblazers, where Miami, they'll make the playoffs with Jimmy Butler, but they're going to be one and done. Why would you go to a place where you're going to be one and done? This is another example of somebody taking their money and not caring if they're going to get bounced in the first round. I don't get why Jimmy Butler signed with the Heat.
I don't either. This was a weird one. I don't know why he doesn't want to go to Houston and go contend for a title every year. I don't get it. And yeah, this is for money. As a perfect example of this was Major League Baseball. Man, we try to go in the Padres. Maybe the Padres are going to be good in 2-3 years, but right now he ain't going there. You're not going anywhere. There'll be a 7 or 8 seed in the NBA playoffs. So what, the Bucks are going to knock you out in first round of 76ers? Probably.
They will be the max. They'll be a 6 seed, and they'll get knocked out in the first round.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Miami is a beautiful place to live too, but I just don't know why Miami over Houston.
And this is why this is his 4th team in like 5 years. I mean, he's a meat player, and it's all about him, and he just wants his money and doesn't care as much about winning championships. He wants the money.
But the thing is, if he went to Houston, it'd kind of be in the same situation that the Lakers would be if they got Kawhi, in terms of your bench would be terrible. You would have, it literally would be those 3 guys, and that's it. Because at that point, I mean, they're pretty cap strapped as it is. So with Jimmy Butler's contract coming in, you're gonna have to get rid of Capella in some form and open up. So you're gonna have no bench. It's gonna be terrible. And honestly, I don't think he should have. I would never have ever gone to the Rockets if I was Butler, because first of all, he wants the team he's on. He wants them to be tough. He wants them to play like a hard-nosed team. Is Chris Paul that in some form, although he is declining because he is on the older side? Harden, he plays tough on the offensive side, although him flopping is like Charmin soft. But him on the defense is Swiss cheese. He don't play defense. Imagine Butler on the team with Harden. He'd be getting cursed out on the daily. His first practice, Butler would be cursing Harden out. That is talent-wise, insane talent.
But it may not be a fit because of the way they play. Yeah,
it would be a terrible fit. That would not go well. You would hear after this season, you would hear articles about how like the behind the scenes thing, because that would be that brutal. If I was him, I would have stayed in Philly, because Philly's hard nosed, blue collar, town, and they love their players to be hard nosed, blue collar, and they love defense, and he's very, very good at defense. I would have stayed. To me, Houston would never been the picture. I would have I would have stayed in Philly if he, maybe for some reason might be some behind the scenes stuff we don't know about, because maybe him being Ben Simmons and him not being involved in all that, maybe that could have been the thing. But I think maybe he really just felt a connection with Pat Riley, because Pat Riley is the epitome of Jimmy Butler is a tough, hard-nosed.
And that's what Pat Riley is. Because when Pat Riley was with the Lakers, it was kind of an alter ego. But when he was with the those Knicks teams, and you're too young, but you remember those Knicks teams in the early '90s? They were defensive teams. They played tough. They were physical. Like the '94 Knicks, they were such a physical, tough team with the Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Patrick Ewing, John Starks.
You come in a lane and they would literally foul. It would be a forearm to the throat.
Yeah, I seen the 30 for
30 but that Knicks Pacers. Both those teams played the same way too. They were mirror images of each other the way they played.
Yeah. And that literally is the epitome. I think that honestly it's a dumb decision if you're in terms of winning championships, because I did see they offered him max money. They offered him a max contract in Philly, and he said no. I really think that it was the connection with him and Pat Riley. He wants a hard-nosed, team and all that, and his own, and not the GM. That's the epitome. His personality is literally the same as Pat Riley's. Right? He's that hard-nosed player. Because I did see a thing when he first got drafted, I don't know what, it was early in his career, he literally yelled at the coach for not coaching him hard enough and being hard on him. That shows you he's one of those guys where he might not be the easiest to get along, but at the same time he's doing it because I'm fine and I can live with it if you're being like being like how Butler is, but for a purpose. If you're just doing it, for the ha-has and he-he's just to be that, and that's not how you actually are, then now it's when I would get mad. But he's real. That's him. So I can at least live with that. But like you said, they'll be one and done in the playoffs most likely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the Sixers, what they did in free agency. They bring back Tobias Harris, 5 years, $180 million. That's a good pickup. But and they bring in Al Horford. But now Ben Simmons is getting that max contract. It's time for him to start stepping up and being a scorer and being a star on this team. I mean, he can't be averaging this 15 points a game, not shooting 3-point shots. This guy has to develop a consistent jump shot, and he has to become the player that the Sixers expect him to be going number 1 overall.
Because now to attempt to shoot the ball. He doesn't
exactly. He's got to.
What?
And in the NBA today, you can't be the days of the point guards of Jason Kidd, of Steve Nash, of John Stockton. Those days are over. If you're gonna be a point guard today, the best point guard, you got to be able to score, and that's what Ben Simmons has got to be able to do. If the Philadelphia Sixers are gonna win an NBA championship, he's got to be able to score.
Just develop a mid range.
Yeah, be that guy with Embiid. Be that 1-2 punch with Joel Embiid. And I think right now the Sixers are the second best team in the East. But if Simmons can really step up, they could become the best team in the East. I'm saying Kawhi leaves. They're the second best team in the East. I think third best if Kawhi stays. But, yeah, Simmons has got to develop a jump shot if the Sixers want to win an NBA championship.
Yeah, definitely. And especially because you'd have to respect him on the three-point shot. And being 6'10", he could drive on pretty much anybody in the league. And also with Embiid, you could start, the alley-oop kind of
like how the Rockets do with Capella.
Yeah.
Type stuff.
Yeah, you just start lobbing up to Embiid. It would work very, very well for the Sixers if they could get him to hit be able to develop a jump shot. Especially his size 2, playing a 6'10" point guard. You don't see that. Like, it's a rare talent.
Like a Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
And that was once Magic Johnson learned how to create a jump shot, he became one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah, so, you would hope that he's in the gym, all summer, trying to get that jump shot going. And because, he would be very scared to see him shooting.
Because you saw last year when he went up against LeBron, when LeBron was guarding him, LeBron literally was sitting at the free throw line guarding him. They were guarding him like he was Tony Allen, who has no offensive game, really. But you don't even need a 3-point shot. At least just a mid-range. Just so they'd have to respect your mid-range game. And if they push up on you a little bit, he has the speed, the strength, and the height to, get past for, a layup. Or if he, then drive, someone has to, go down on, and guard him. And then he can kick it out to, to like Tobias Harris, who can definitely shoot. Although the one problem I could see them having is having more shooters, because them losing Redick is a big problem. Because that dude can shoot the lights out of the ball, and now that he's not there, you lost a big part of your team and all that. So yes, you gained Al Horford, which is good, but you're paying Ben Simmons max money. Paying Tobias Harris max money. Horford isn't max money, but it's big money. And I'm assuming Embiid got his contract too, like a year or so ago. So how much more do you have?
Not much.
So again, this could be the problem kind of that they had last year in terms of you have one of the better starting fives in the league. What's your bench like though? You could be one injury away from kind of thing like the Lakers that they end up getting Kawhi. You could be coming from an elite, team to an above average team.
Yeah, and then that's the issue. They have a really good starting five. The only issue is, yes, Embiid's a top 10 player, but he's not as good as Kawhi. He's not as good as Giannis. He's not as good as Curry. He's not as good as Durant. He's not as good as LeBron. Davis. He's not as good as Anthony Davis. He's not as good as James Harden.
And he has the injury history.
Exactly. Yeah,
for days.
But I still think if Kawhi leaves, they're the second best team behind the Bucks in the Eastern Conference. And now we'll go on to talk about the Bucks, and what they did in free agency is they re-signed Chris Middleton. Not a great player, but a good player, good compliment to Giannis. They did end up losing Malcolm Brogdon to the Pacers, 4 years, $85 million.
Which is going to hurt.
Yeah.
Because he was one with the 50, 40, 90 guys. Mm-hmm. So that you don't see those in the NBA.
Yeah, and then they re-signed Brook Lopez. But I think if Kawhi leaves, this is the best team in the Eastern Conference. They have the best player, and they got some solid guys around them. I mean, they got Giannis, and they got They got Middleton, they got Bledsoe. Even though they're not great, they're good, and they re-signed Brook Lopez. So I think if Kawhi leaves, this is the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I think for this year, then it's probably the Nets. Probably turn into the best.
It might
team,
end up being the Nets the next year, but this year, 2020, it's going to be the Bucks.
Oh yeah, it's the Bucks with Giannis. Right now, we're the top 3 players in the league. Chris Middleton had a huge year making the All-Star game, and it really helped out Giannis. And again, we can go back to Giannis. He's got to develop the jump shot to this offseason. Having Bledsoe back too is gonna be nice. He's older though, so we'll see. Brogdon though, yeah, I'm with Kyle. That one may hurt. I really like Brogdon. And especially now because he's going to your division rival too, which I think hurts a little bit more.
The Pacers are a playoff team with Oladipo and Brogdon.
Yeah, and they just got Jeremy Lamb too. So.
And they're probably a top 5 team right now. I think they're still top 5, top 6 in the Eastern Conference. I mean,
they hung around without Oladipo.
Oh yeah, depending on what happens, and obviously this depends on what happens with the Raptors with or without Kawhi. And yeah, Oladipo, they hung around, but we got to playoff time. The Pacers got swept without Oladipo.
Yeah, but just imagine if they had Oladipo, what they would have done.
They might have been able to beat the Celtics in the first round.
That would have been a very tough out in the playoffs. But sorry, go ahead. Sorry. Okay, but I remember even when not this past year, but 2 years ago, when the Celtics beat the Bucks. Like Chris Middleton was just like that. He was like the thorn in the side. He hit that like ridiculous shot to send it to OT, and I don't know which game it was, but like last seconds chuck up almost like a half court shot and it goes in. But Middleton would be if Middleton becomes that consistent player, he would make the Greek Freak so much better because that's another guy you won't be able to sack off on because if you do, dish it out, knock down the shot. And now if Giannis becomes even a consistent, not even a 3-point shot, even if he stays at like 30% with the outlet with it, but he can make that consistent mid-range game, that dude would be the best player in the league, and it won't be close. It won't even be close to LeBron. It won't even be close to Kawhi because they don't have those go-go gadget arms. They don't have. Now again, they're both tall and they both have length. They don't have Giannis length. They don't have Giannis's jumping ability anymore because LeBron had it, but it's starting to wear off a little. He will be the best player in the league, and it won't be close if he could develop a jump shot. And if you have him with Middleton, all of a sudden Brook Lopez was a standard old school 5, and now all of a sudden this guy can knock down a 3 at an insane rate. I don't know how he became from not really having a 3-point game to be one of the best 3-point shooting big men in the league. I don't know how that happens to that level. That to me is one of the biggest shockers in the NBA period, is to that level that he could shoot. But losing Brogdon, that's gonna hurt because he was a very important piece to that squad. But I don't know. Obviously you got to re-sign Middleton. That was definitely, you had to re-sign Lopez. It's definitely stretch 5, make room for Giannis. But I'm gonna honestly say it's a small step back, but it is a step back. Them losing Brogdon, so it's gonna see how much it's gonna pay off. Hurt him and come the regular season playoff time.
But they could be helped if Kawhi leaves because you got a Sixers team with really, no experience winning a big time series. They can't get out of the second round of the playoffs. You would have a Celtics team that I think talent-wise got a little bit worse. Even though their chemistry might be better, talent-wise it got a little bit worse.
I think the Celtics could be the Sixers because they just have their number. But then when it comes to time against Milwaukee, it's gonna be Strokesville.
Yeah, so
you don't have the length.
That's why I will say Milwaukee is definitely the favorite in the East if Kawhi ends up leaving the Raptors. So we'll talk about some other free agents too. Bogdanović signed a 4-year, $73 million deal with the Jazz. Vucevic signed a 4-year, $100 million deal with the Magic. Julius Randle obviously signs with the Knicks, 3 years, $63 million. DeAndre Jordan with the Nets, 4 years, $40 million. And for your Kings, Harrison Barnes, 4 years, $85 million. Justin, you can discuss some of those free agents.
All right. Bogdanović, I really like going to Utah. Good shooter, really helps out Utah that needs help offensively to really contend. I think, or kind of contend in that Western Conference. DeAndre Jordan, we kind of heard that they want to team up with Kyrie and Durant. They needed a big guy. They needed a center. So,
But they have that Jared Allen now.
Yeah, they did.
So who's going to be starting?
That's unless you do, Jordan at 1 at the 5, 1 at the 4. something like that.
Maybe if you want to go big, but I don't think Allen can really shoot though. We know DeAndre can't shoot.
Yeah.
He can't even shoot free throws.
Yeah, well, they both can't.
Wait, he's a good bench big. I'll say that.
Yeah, he really is. He's older, so DeAndre Jordan's older. So we'll see how that kind of works out. And the Kings for Barnes, I think they overpaid a little bit for him, but I do like him coming back. I think he's been in the league for a while. He knows how to get a championship, but I think they overpaid. Over $20 million. I was hoping they didn't have to pay him $20 million. I was hoping it would be more range of like a 17, $18 million. But it's okay. I like how he is coming back. They have a strong, young core that hopefully really takes that next step this year because they just missed the playoffs this year. Hopefully they can get in there next year. They don't have to worry. Hopefully. But they also got Dedmon as a bit for their starting center. 3 years, $40 million, I think it was. So not bad at all. I liked him too from coming over from Atlanta. So you
guys got Trevor Ariza too.
Oh yeah. Ariza, that one I was kind of a little bit disappointed about. I wanted to go younger in that one because they signed Rasheed Holmes too for 1 year, $10 million. So I don't understand why we need 3 veteran small forwards, but I don't
know. He's a good player though, but
yeah,
you don't need that many.
Yeah, we don't need that many small forward veterans.
Well, I would say, like Johnny Jordan, we were saying about the pick and roll game with Embiid and all that. Imagine that with Kyrie and DeAndre, because we know DeAndre can jump. That's for sure. You could have that pick and roll game with them. I feel like one of the bigger signings, or I guess re-signing. I mean, you had to keep Jamal Murray because he did sign for 5 years, 170, and I think the Nuggets could end up being a very good team. I think. Especially what ends up happening with the Warriors and seeing how D'Angelo Russell meshes, they could be an insane team next year, especially because, remember, they're getting Michael Porter Jr. back. That guy was one of the best, if not the best, prospects coming out of the draft before his injury happened 10 seconds into that season. I think I think DeAndre will be a big one because you provide that veteran. I think Jarrett Allen learning from DeAndre could be a big thing, and having a guy that quality coming off the bench, or if you want, substitute maybe depending on the team, Allen coming off the bench, whoever, it's going to work because it's going to provide very, very good depth. Let's see. I mean, like Ross signed for the Magic, he's a valuable piece. One of the ones I don't understand is I'm looking through these is Rubio to the Suns. He can't shoot at all. He can only pass, so it's gonna hurt someone like Devin Booker because you're able to sag off on Rubio, and so I don't really understand that, but I don't know. I like what the Jazz did because the Jazz needed more shooting. That was one of the things that they need, and you could always use more 3-point shooting, especially in the NBA now.
Actually, Mike Conley can get the ball to Donovan Mitchell and Bogdanovich now. That's a playoff team.
Yeah, that's a team that could maybe finish I would even go as high maybe as a 3 seed.
I wouldn't go that far, dude.
3 or 4.
The Lakers have gotten better, dude.
Yeah, Lakers.
You got the Lakers. You still have the Rockets, and then you got the Warriors. They're going to be top 3. Those 3 teams.
But you know how the Warriors.
But D'Angelo Russell's still really good. Even if he plays the 2, he's still really good.
Yeah, but you don't know how if he's going to mesh well though, because you're not going to have Clay for at least the first half of the year.
Oh, you won't have Clay till probably February or March. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why. I mean, I could see that. That's I think if they perform at the absolute peak.
I can go. Yeah, I could see him at a range from a 3. The Jazz from 3 to 6, something like that.
I could definitely see that. The one I just saw the signing. Where was it? Oh, here it is. It was Patrick Beverley re-signing with the Clippers. You needed that because Patrick Beverley might be the biggest nuisance in the NBA, and I mean that in a nice way. You saw what he did with Durant in that playoff series.
Got in his head, yeah.
Yeah, and he literally will annoy you to no end.
Yeah,
so it's how do you deal with that?
Yeah, he is one of the best defenders, and he took less money too to stay at the Clippers. The Kings were going to sign him for 3 years, $50 million to be a backup point guard, and he signed. I love his defense. I really want it because we really need help defensively. That was the guy I really, really wanted, but Clippers got him.
I remember seeing something about yesterday in terms of DeMarcus Cousins. Apparently, he has no contract offers, period, Like the just thing you were saying, there's a good chance you might have to take like vet minimum, and all that.
2-3 years ago, you're talking about
he was getting max money
Yeah.
easy, no question. And then what was his first injury he had? Was it an ACL?
I think
Or was it like an Achilles twice? Or whatever injuries it seems
New
like.
Orleans.
Yeah, that. And then what was it before? Did he have? He had an injury when he was with Sacramento, right?
I don't remember. I don't think he did.
No, he didn't. He didn't have an
Yeah,
injury
I
with
don't
Sacramento.
think he
The
did.
first was with the Pelicans.
But he always was like when he was healthy and all. He was right up there with the best big men in the game, and he was getting max money. And now all of a sudden, he might not get anything. It's almost I look at it kind of the way with Isaiah Thomas with Boston. He was going to get max money probably from someone if it wasn't Boston, and then all of a sudden, he had the hip injury. Isaiah had the hip injury. Now DeMarcus had this little string of injuries, and now you're going to get nothing. Imagine that. Well, if you told him that a couple years ago, listen, you're going to maybe have to take the vet minimum, he literally would have laughed in your face. Now it's reality time. Look what he did with the Warriors. And this thing, it wasn't a fit at all. And the same thing I would say with, in terms of a fit with Kyrie with Boston. Look at what it was with DeMarcus and the Warriors. It was a great talent. It did not fit at all.
No, he did provide some decent minutes off the bench at times, and
But he was a shell of what he was. He was
Yeah.
You know that from when
Yeah,
he played
he
in
was.
Sacramento. He's a shell of what he was.
He never had a chance to develop chemistry with that team ever.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. So we're going to move on to baseball, and the All-Star Game selections were out on Sunday, and we'll start with the American League because the All-Star Game is in Cleveland. We'll start with the American League. We'll go over the starters first. Gary Sanchez, catcher.
No
agreement
question.
there.
Yeah.
Here's where there's some disagreement. Carlos Santana starting at first. You could have Jose Abreu, and you could have arguably had Luke Voigt there.
And you could add Wood Encarnacion.
Yeah, because people forget with the Mariners, he was having a really good year
So
when he was with the Mariners so far. DJ LeMahieu at second.
no question.
Jorge Polanco at short. Got to be because Lindor's been hurt. And Polanco's sitting over 330. Lindor's been hurt. And Didi's been hurt, and Correa's been hurt. And Bogarts has been good, but not great.
I go Bogarts or I go Torres because
Polanco's hitting over 330.
Yeah, besides that, he's got 11 home runs, 39 RBIs.
I know, but Glaber or Bogarts, you could argue there. I'll give you the argument there, but Polanco's hitting over 330, and he's helping that Twins team being the top offense in baseball.
I think it might be because they're a little bit more of a. I think people thought they were going to do good. But I don't know if people were thinking they were going to do this good.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be playing a very big part of it.
Yes. Third base, you got Alex Bregman. Outfield, you got Trout.
You could literally just put him
Brantley and Springer.
Put Trout in at center field literally every year until he retires.
Exactly. And you got Springer and Brantley in the outfield. And you could have made a case. A guy who I thought got snubbed was Eddie Rosario. He was having a great year.
Oh yeah, and I thought
He's the reason the Twins are as good as they are offensively.
Yeah, he's been better than he's been their best offensive player.
And I think he's better than. I think Springer's been hurt. He's had a better year than Springer. He's had a better year than Brantley. He's had a better year than Meadows. He's had a better year than Betts. Who made the All-Star team. He has a better year than Gallo. I think Betts and JD making the All-Star team is because of Alex Cora being the manager.
Yeah. JD's starting to turn on a little bit. Betts has been pretty.
Betts is hitting like 263.
He's had a rough. Yeah, he's having a down year.
Especially compared to what look at the season he had last year.
Yeah,
I know it's not even close. And then we'll go over some of the reserves. Obviously, James McCann is a backup catcher. There's no catchers in the American League. You just have to put someone there. Jose Abreu deserved it at first base. Tommy La Stella at second, having a pretty good year. Francisco Lindor hitting for a high average. Matt Chapman. Yes, they needed a backup third baseman. I'll give it to him. With Miguel Andujar hurt, you give it to him. But I think another snub is, and I forgot about this, Rafael Devers. I thought Devers should have gotten that spot. Devers was definitely a snub.
And again,
over Matt Chapman,
Yeah, because I'm not really a fan of, we need one player from each team. I'm not a big fan of that. I really just see the best players and just throw them out there. And if that doesn't mean like the O's or the A's don't get a player, well then.
And the A's are actually decent, even without without a real All-Star. They're actually decent because I don't consider Matt Chapman a real All-Star. I think Rafael Devers should be playing third base in the All-Star game.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah.
Should be at least on the bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. With not everyone getting represented because, if your team is terrible, like why are you in the All-Star game where you're supposed to be representing and having the best players, are you representing a team that's
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm right there with you. Devers, I would put him probably a third.
And you also got Mookie, who I'd argue he's not an all-star this year the way he's played. I mean, I think Bogart's had a better year. I think Devers has had a better year. I think JD's had a better year than Mookie.
Yeah, most of that lineup had. Even Benintendi's starting to play better than Mookie Betts. So, yeah, that's a weird one. That's just,
Yeah.
And that's hurting him coming his contract, too.
Yeah. And then you got Austin Meadows, who probably right now is the AL Rookie of the Year. Joey Gallo's had a really good year for the Rangers. Obviously, put Whit Merrifield makes. I mean, he's a good average hitter, but again, the Royals need a player. Yep. He's the one player they're gonna give him. And same thing with the Mariners with Daniel Vogelbach. They got to give him him. And it probably would have been it might have been Encarnacion if he would have stayed with the Mariners, he would have been an all-star. Yep. But now with the Yankees, because they have other guys who are all-stars, he's not an all-star, and obviously JD makes the team. Not having as good of a year last year, but still a good year. We go to pitchers, Verlander, obviously. Cole, you could argue maybe not. You got Giolito, absolutely, 11-2, ERA under 3. Mike Minor's had a really good year. Jake Odorizzi's had a really good year. Stroman's had a really good year. John Means, he's had a good year, but also that's because they have to put someone in the Orioles.
He's for the ERA at 2.50 with the Orioles. Hey, that's pretty impressive.
Charlie Morton.
How many of those home runs has he given up? I wonder how low that is.
Yeah. Exactly. You got Charlie Morton for the Rays.
Yep, he's having that's a great pickup for the Rays so far.
Oh, absolutely, huge pickup, and that's a loss for the Astros because that hurts the depth of that rotation. And we remember how he pitched against. I mean, he hasn't pitched that much against the Yankees this year. We remember him in the playoffs in that Game 7 against the Yankees. He was outstanding in that Game 7. Mm-hmm. Ryan Presley. Here's the one I don't really get. Ryan Presley making the All-Star game for Houston. I think maybe, yes, I know he's in the ERA of 1.43, but you could have given a spot to maybe Britton or Ottavino. Yeah, but Ryan Presley, he's not even a closer, but I would have given that spot to one of those two guys, but he makes it for the Astros. You got, let me see, you got
Brad Hand's a
no-brainer. Yeah, Brad Hand definitely. Yeah, Brad Hand. No, Brad Hand.
4-3 with the high. His ERA is higher.
Look at his ERA. I don't think he's blown any saves yet this year. I mean, Brad Hand. That's still a no-brainer. His ERA 2.22.
I'd rather see an Ottavino with that one.
Hands. But listen, without Brad Hand, are the Indians even close to contention? Because look at Jose Ramirez has had a terrible year. Yeah. Kluber's been hurt. Without Brad Hand, the Indians are not even. They're contending for the second wild card. Without Brad Hand, the Indians aren't even in contention. That was a great pickup last year, and their bullpen wasn't good. That was the weird part of the Indians was last year their bullpen was really bad, but their lineup and their starting pitching were good. This year their lineup hasn't been as good. Their starting pitching definitely hasn't been as good, but their bullpen's been the reason that team is in contention. Yeah. That's been a huge reason that they've been in contention. You got Shane Green for the Tigers, deserved it. The Tigers would probably be the worst team in all of baseball without Shane Green.
Imagine if he was still in the Yankees bullpen too.
Oh my God, that bullpen would be ridiculous. And obviously we got our guy Aroldis Chapman. He's going to be in the All-Star game too. Yeah. We could go over to the NL. We got Contreras starting catcher, no argument. Freddie Freeman starting first baseman, no argument. Kenley Marte starting second baseman, no argument. Shortstop Javier Baez, no argument. Third baseman, the second best player in the game, Nolan Arenado, no argument. Kristen Yelich, Cody Bellinger, no argument. Ronald Acuña, no argument.
That is a very good team.
That's a very good, very, very good team. I think better than the AL, to be honest. Because of the injuries in the AL. Correa's been hurt. Didi's been hurt. Judge has been hurt. Stanton's been hurt. There's just so many injuries in the AL. Betts has had a down year. And then we got the NL reserves, Grandal and Ray Lamuto catchers. Catcher's just such a weak position in baseball. That's why Joe Aguirre likes to brag about Gary Sanchez being the best. And I love Gary Sanchez, but still, catcher's a very weak position. It's crazy Josh Bell isn't starting. And that's where I probably would have. I'd have Josh Bell starting over Freddie Freeman. It's close.
He got the shot to DH. To start
you got Pete Alonso. Definitely should have been the All-Star game. Jeff McNeil's had a really good year, hitting over 300. Mike Moustakas had a good year. Paul DeJong, that's the one guy the Cardinals needed a guy in the All-Star game. Yep. Trevor Story, he gets in. He's had a good year. Rendon's had a good year. Bryant's had a good year. David Dahl's had a good year. And Charlie Blackmon's had a good year. So really the only argument there is Peter DeJong of the Cardinals.
Yeah, and they just needed that spot filled.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Goldschmidt go to the Cardinals?
He's having a
real rough year. He's having a really rough year.
What happened to that man?
He got the money and has disappeared.
Really rough year for Paul Goldschmidt.
God, I didn't think about that until a couple days ago when originally they came out with this, and it's like, where's Goldschmidt? Like, dude, what happened to you? Did you take the money and run or something, or did you all of a sudden become terrible or not care anymore? What happened to you, dude? You were one of the best in the game.
In the National League, we got pitchers. Mike Soroka, Braves, deserved. Jacob deGrom, yes, he's not had as good of a year, but he's an all-star. Max Scherzer, all-star. Clayton Kershaw, all-star. Kenyon Ryu, all-star.
Yeah.
Walker Buehler, all-star. Zach Greinke, All-Star. Luis Castillo, All-Star. Sandy Alcantara. The Marlins needed a guy as a starting pitcher. Then you got 3 bullpen guys. Will Smith, All-Star. Kirby Yates, definitely an All-Star. And Josh Hader, an All-Star. So there's really not much argument on the NL side.
They should have just put Christian Yelich in the All-Star game in the Marlins jersey just to rub it in.
That would be really, really hilarious.
I would love the MLB for life for that.
Yeah, and the home run derby should be interesting. You have Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Pete Alonso is going to be in the home run derby. 2 young players.
Yeah, and I guess Vlad Guerrero had home run derby prior yesterday. I guess he hit 15 balls, 12 of them left the yard, and I guess they were not wall scrapers. I guess they were bombs. So it sounds like he's the favorite going.
Yeah, I had a thing from Bleacher Report where it was showing part of that, and it said actually like to make sure your volume's up. I turned it on. I had my volume up. Dude, that was loud. It's kind of one of those things where you hear someone like Judge or Stanton hit the ball, and it just makes a different noise. That's him. Yeah. He has that power, and that's insane now. Especially with the guy that he's young. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be interesting how some of those guys, how we come the second half of the year, does it ruin their swing? Because now
I think with the new way of baseball, that everyone's just kind of swinging for the fence now anyways.
Yeah, but we even saw with Judge when that happened with him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's only a couple of years ago. And I mean, he still played very good, but it wasn't first half good. Mm-hmm. That's, thing. Just, I don't know, it's just, not that it's going to mess, you're going to change it, from A to B, but you change it up, I think, a slight bit to where you start going, you maybe start having that home run derby type swing, and then you try, and then it's not working out, and then you start correcting it, and you're wondering what's going on, then you start overcorrecting, and it just it messed up all your momentum, I feel like. It's nice to see big-time players. I would love to see, like someone like Trout, because even Trout hits a lot of home runs, like Trout, Judge, Stanton, but at the same time, as a fan of the of the Yankees, I don't want to see Judge or Stanton because I don't want it to possibly mess with their swing and all that.
Definitely. So we're gonna wrap up the show talking about the women's national team, who got a huge win yesterday in the.
You're lucky.
In the semifinals against England. Alyssa Nair with a huge save on that PK late in the second half, and we'll see what ends up happening in the final. I mean, they'll play the winner of Holland and Sweden, and the interesting move was Megan Rapone not playing yesterday, but her replacement Press
first goal.
got the first goal of that game.
That was a nice goal too.
It was a nice goal, and as I've said, and I told Justin on the show, I'm out rooting for the women. That 13-0 win kind of just said I'll watch, but I'm out rooting for them. I'm not rooting for them after that 13-0 game. I thought that was completely classless.
Well, real quick, because I wasn't on this one. My thing with that is your job. Stop me. And the reason why they did it too is because when the group stage, one of the tiebreakers is goals.
Yeah. Yes, but dude, you're gonna advance to the next round anyways. You don't need to beat a team 13-0.
But you want the highest seed possible. And now the team still got to face Thailand, so you always run the risk of them doing it. You got to make sure to put it up as much as possible because you got to assume not the fact that you're not going to make it, but you want to get the highest seed possible and all that. So, and I'm fine with that, and I'm fine with them. I'm fine with them celebrating too, because it's not like they went up to the, right up to the other player's face and were going ha ha he he to you. They weren't doing it anything disrespectful to them. They were celebrating. To me, it's if you don't want them celebrating, stop them. Just don't let them score. That's to me personally. If I'm doing it, but it showed right there in that game when they got. So there was the goal that ended getting disallowed where they were offsides. Literally, England was offsides by that much. It was barely
that close.
And that was a beautiful. I don't know who it was by England, but whoever that is, that pass was beautiful on that goal. Now it ended up getting disallowed, and then it becomes the penalty, kick. And I'm thinking, oh, good Lord, I mean, it kind of looked like it was a penalty kick, so I agree with them after they reviewed it, and then it gets stopped. And I love the reaction of, I'm sorry, I don't know the goalie's name, but I love her reaction when she stopped it, and you had someone like Alex Morgan and like one or two other players come over, and they were all hugging her, and she had the reaction of like, we're still playing, right? Like, go out.
Yeah. But I thought after that they didn't get that PK, that was the game.
Oh yeah.
But they still put on pressure. It was just like they went in the full defensive mode, which still like push up a little bit, like a little something. But that game, especially the first time, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of the second half, that was rough. Like people were hitting the deck every 2 seconds. I think Alex Morgan in the past couple games, she's fallen down like 10 times. She's getting taken down a lot. Like she's gonna some serious injuries after this.
And she scored 2 on her 30th birthday.
Yeah,
so it's a nice birthday.
Yeah, oh yeah, she loves that.
And I heard the goaltender too from Stratford, Connecticut. She grew up there, so pretty cool. So that Connecticut got something.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I heard that, and it was one of those things of like I heard, and I was like, wait, rewind, what?
Yeah.
From Connecticut? Okay, cool. I root for you even more. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I will forever say if I'm a fan, because obviously I'm rooting for the U.S. or if I'm playing for, I would rather lose earlier in a tournament than later because it's gonna hurt so much more if you lose. If they end up losing in the finals compared to if they lost quarterfinals or something, let's say. Then
you did point you didn't get as far as you should have. So.
Yeah, it's just it will forever be like burned in my brain. But the fact that you played a tough game, you didn't win it, you survived because you were attempting to give it away. But hey, more power to you. I'm happy it's on Sunday. I'm gonna be able to watch it. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, I think I'll be watching it. You got to watch it. We got to work the Sox game.
Yeah, I got the Sox game Sunday, so I will not be able to watch it.
So yeah, depending on who they play, even if it's Netherlands or Sweden, it should be a great game. So that's gonna wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with RKJ. For my co-host Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galuli, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week, hopefully talking about where Kawhi Leonard has signed, doing a lot of baseball. Going over the first half of the baseball season. And maybe recapping the women's national, hopefully the U.S. women's team wins the World Cup, and we're recapping that. So we hope everyone has a happy and safe July 4th weekend, everyone, and talk to you next week.